What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 14 of Brewing Through the Multiverse. I'm your host, Mike.
And your co-host Joel.
How we doing, man?
Doing well.
Ah!
Oh, you got the blue milk.
Oh, that blue milk. Nice. You went out to Magnify to get that?
No, my buddy who works at a liquor store picked it up. So I don't know if they ordered it there, but got some Magnify blue milk. Blaring. There it is.
Nice.
Hi. Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have to show that the glass, show that blue milk.
Oh, I drink straight from the can like a heathen.
My God. All right. Well, I'm over here. I'm drinking Voodoo Ranger Juice Force. It's a 9.5. It's pretty good. But so when I went to go
9.5.
get it, they also had Fruit Force, which is a fruit punch IPA. And my understanding was a fruit punch IPA was just a normal IPA. It's just very fruity. They were just being no. I think they added fruit punch into it. It's terrible. I don't like it. So I'm gonna start with the actual Juice Force, and I'll leave Fruit Juice Force for later.
I have to say about all the smoothies and all that kind of is where does the line get drawn for what's beer? You know what I mean? Like I feel like this because this I'm not pouring into a glass, but is like blue and thick and milky and smooth, and it's just like where is the line? Where is the line for beer? I don't understand.
It's 2024, man. There's no clear lines on anything. We're just living in a world of gray, but exciting stuff. So
Back in my day, there was only two types of beer: light and dark. Now they're all transitioning.
Listen, I'll take a beer any way it wants to present itself to me, you know?
Hmm.
So man, so I played some Commander over the weekend. How about
I
you?
did as well. We both played some Commander separately, which was sad, but uh,
Yes.
but it was nice to
Well,
get some games in.
yeah. All right. Well, tell me about it. How'd it go? Anything interesting? Any cool cards get cast?
So actually, before specifically talking about what like cards got played or cool plays or anything like that, I had to ask you about your perception on something. So,
Okay.
what something that I've decided to start doing, and again, I want your input on this, is that after I've won a game in a pod, if we're playing with the same people multiple games, let me just kind of explain the situation first. I got to the point where I was playing a deck, trying to remember what deck it was. I think it was my Cascade Chaos deck with Yidris. And I did a whole bunch of things. I had an explosive turn. I had like a crazy board state, and then I decided to concede. And I decided to concede because I felt like I did the thing that my deck was supposed to come and do, but I didn't want to end the game for everybody because I could have won through just like value on the next turn. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was inevitable, but I didn't feel like it was fair to end it there when everyone else still had like a fighting chance to basically play. So I decided to concede, and that was met with mixed reactions. So I wanted to get your take on that.
Okay, so I have mixed reactions about that too. My gut feeling is if you're gonna go that hard and you're going through the motion, just win. Because even if I end up winning that game, I know I didn't win that game. Um, it's like in the anime when that superhero, that he's like, acting like he's gonna beat you up, and then at the last moment he's like, I didn't even use my real strength, and it's like, oh my god. So it's it was given to you. But also at the same time, the point that you make of they are in the middle of their game as well, and to just cut it short on them when they were about to do their big thing, yeah, you might want to let them go. I guess it might have to come down to the game itself, how deep the game is and how everyone feels. Maybe kind of ask like, "Hey, before I finish this game, before I wipe you all out, do you want me to concede and let you guys, keep playing? Or do you want to just go to the next game?" And I bet you 9 times out of 10 people will say, "Just kill me. Let's get on to the next one." So yeah, my gut reaction is just kill me. If you're gonna do that, just kill me. But at the same time, I see what you're saying of let people finish getting off.
Yeah, I just feel like I did the thing that I wanted to do. And I want to have the caveat that there was no, it wasn't that I was definitely going to win. It's not that I had lethal on the board and I decided not to swing. It was
Oh,
just
okay.
that I had an explosive turn. I got a ton of value. I had a ton of things out. And yes, could I likely have probably knocked somebody down the next turn and was resilient enough to kind of fight through a couple more turns until I got the W? For sure. But somebody also could have board wiped on the next turn, and then it would have wiped my board completely. So I wasn't
Yeah.
like poised to win and decided not to throw the final punch. It was just like, I went Super Saiyan and then decided to fly off of Namek instead of like fighting Frieza.
All right. Well, here's another thing that's actually very important for the context. Did you win any other games prior to this game?
Yeah, so I did win a game. I got my W in, and that's another reason why I felt like why
Okay.
I don't need to push for more wins when I
Okay.
I won a game and then I did the thing my deck was supposed to do. It got a bunch of value, cool things happened, and then I was satisfied.
I've definitely been there where I feel like I've been a little overpowered for a few of the games, and I'll find myself throw a game. But I typically I try to do it really discreetly, like act like I messed up a play or something like
I've
this,
never
or
once been tricked by your discreet misplay. I'm always like, what is this?
like I'll hold something in hand, or I'll cast a card that I know I shouldn't have casted and wait for the opportune time, just so that it looks like I made a flashy play, but at the same time obviously I should have held on to that to protect myself and take the win. Which actually, funny story is that's kind of how it started for my commander game, where the very first game we played, I was playing against the vanilla tribal bear Ruxa or something, and there was a $40 Volo build, and Carolyn was playing one of the Joyras, but it wasn't like an overpowered. It wasn't like a combo deck.
Yeah.
And I felt like my deck started off way too strong, and I actually I threw the first game just so I didn't start so aggressively, and it bit me in the ass. I didn't win a single game that night. I almost like overanalyzed what was happening, and I was like, oh, I had a powerful play. Let me calm down, and I ended up losing every
I
game that
feel
night.
you get your first win in, you get that first check, you get that first W, and then you're allowed to start making silly plays.
Yeah,
Lock in that
yeah,
first win though.
yeah. Honestly, that first game was one of the coolest because the vanilla tribal was very powerful. The fact that he could swing, and then once you block, he's like, well, the damage is still going to your face. Um, Let me read that card real quick, just because I'm talking about it. Um, so
Also,
it's
did he have a background?
Ruxa, the patient professor, 2 green. When Ruxa, the patient professor, enters the battlefield or attacks, return target creature card with no abilities from the graveyard to your hand. So that's awesome recursion.
Mm-hmm.
Creatures you control with no abilities get +1/+1. Nice pump. You may have creatures you control with no abilities assign their combat damage as though they weren't blocked. That's the thing. So just make a whole bunch of things that get a little bigger, and you swing and don't care because it's gonna hit. So I wanted to see how that played out. So I didn't want to get crazy, but again, it ended up being way more powerful than I thought. And also the Volo deck. I want to bring this up to your attention. The Volo deck was a mutate deck.
Interesting.
So when you would cast a creature, that was in a creature type, but had mutate, it would mutate twice. And you'd be getting double mutate triggers, which got out of hand very quickly. I was so impressed with this whole mutate in Volo that I had to just I had to shout it out. That
Yeah.
was crazy. It was very powerful. Multiple mutate triggers and multiple creatures that are growing. So crazy.
Yeah, Volo is somebody that I was interested in building. I don't know if I will, but just because I like the idea of like trying to run all the different creature types, and then basically only having one of each creature type in your deck. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of interesting creature types when you look into like outside of the usual like humans, zombies, goblins, things like that. Like walrus or like homunculus or something. You know what I mean? Like there's a bunch of cool ones.
Yeah, there was a bronze walrus in that deck. I saw the walrus come out.
Actually, yeah, that's what reminded me is Bronze Walrus made its way into my Drana deck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because
I honestly I don't know what it does. Do you have it pulled up? Do you want to read it?
I'm gonna guess that it's a 3 mana walrus that taps for one event any color. And when it ETBs, you scry two. Yeah, 3 mana, two
Yeah.
two, ETB, scry two, tap 1 mana of any color. So the way I built my Drana deck was I essentially had every creature has an ETB effect of some sort, so that when Drana's trigger goes off, even if John Cena shows up, um, something happens, even if it's, you know what I mean. So even if they reanimate my, because the opponent chooses, so obviously they're going to choose like the least ideal thing in most situations. So I figured,
Right.
Oh, actually, I wanted to make a comment about how I ended up building my Drana deck too. Is that I remember when I brought it up a couple weeks ago, I had said like, oh, I wanted to put in like Delve and gather evidence cards because I was saying, oh, I can get rid of the things that I don't need and only leave like juicy bits left over. But as I was putting it together, I came to the realization, why have anything in there at all that I don't want to be reanimated? And that's what kind of like influenced my decisions. Because I started like putting in cards to like get rid of other cards. I'm like, what if I only use things that I care if they get reanimated? Like that's it. Why even bother editing the graveyard if everything is something I could use?
Right, right. Or if someone exiles your graveyard, early on in the game, and now you don't have a big graveyard, so you'll take, beggars can't be choosers. You'll take any creature.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
suddenly,
So
it's like, why would I? No, okay, that makes sense, and
that
that's a good
shifted my
good
my
point.
building plan.
Right, awesome. So is it 100% built? Do you have it
No, no, there's
sleeved
still
or
some
together? Okay,
cards in the mail. So waiting for the TCG player gods to hopefully give me my cards in not like 3 weeks from now.
yeah, that's it. I'm waiting on one more card, and it's one of the most important, Fiery Gambit.
That's
So
always the way, though.
yeah, yeah, but that's easy enough to just proxy one of them if we end up
Yeah.
getting together to play. So, all right. So, other than your power concession, how was the rest of your commander sesh?
Everything went really well. There was a lot of precons played, so I ended up playing the Doctor Who deck again. Again, very fun. I'm a big fan of it. Um, I was tempted actually to get more of them just to see like the other decks too, because I read the cards, but didn't actually get to play with them, and nobody I know plays with them. But with Fallout upcoming, I didn't feel like it was justified. I'm gonna have a whole bunch of precons lying around in a month, so I didn't want to add more to the pyre. But actually, one of Jesse got the hold on, we got some static.
I wonder if that's me. I moved my mic. No, I'm
Okay, we're back. Uh,
all right.
Jesse
Nice.
ended up getting the Chaos Warhammer 40K deck, and I've seen the other three, so it was cool to finally see Bellicor as a commander with the demons and like the chaos monsters and stuff. And it was a lot of fun. It was very cool. I realized that it's basically just like Yidris minus green because it's just
Hmm.
like the same kind of like chaosy cascade type of effects. Um,
Nice.
but yeah, but Bellicor definitely would be an incredible demon commander. And I kept trying to tell Jesse like, hey man, consider it because every time you play a demon deals damage equal to its power to something is like it got gross too. Like you don't expect, but all of a sudden everything he plays is all like pinging a creature off the board, and a lot of these demons are 5, 6, 7 power, and that's enough to blow most things up. So just kind of reminds me of like Reaper King when you have like removal in the command zone. It gets a little scary because it's hard to want to commit to the board.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's hard running decks like that though, because you right off the bat are a target. That's like the Miram deck, that dragon that
Yeah,
makes double dragons, where it's like, yes, it is so powerful. And if you can get away with it, it's wild. But at the same time, you know that you're gonna be the main target of the board. So
that's exactly why I took it apart.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because I knew when you played it, I didn't even have to look at any other players. That until we killed your commander twice, and it was now suddenly like a 10
Yeah,
mana commander. I couldn't rest. So,
yeah, it
but
got
that's
out of
kind of
hand
fun
real
too.
quick.
It's fun.
I
It
think
did get
that's
it
fun, but it's not fun when I'm the only person who thinks that's fun.
out. It's so funny to watch you struggle with your inability to not to you're such a streamlined player, and it's funny because that's just by nature you're a streamlined player, and it's funny to watch you try to damper your streamlined plays.
I think
You
I've
know,
come a
because
long way since the years we've been playing Commander.
for sure, it's just so funny that that's your struggle is like, don't optimize.
It's hard, man. I do wish everyone optimized as much as I did, but I recognize that like that's just the nature of the play group, and I have to kind of cater to the whims of the group.
Yeah, I mean, I don't optimize, um, but for Rowan, I optimize the hell out of that deck. And I'm not gonna lie, every chance I get to play Rowan, I enjoy every minute of it. I enjoy trying to find my ways to get the most explosive turns. I really do enjoy optimized. I just understand that it's not a sustainable environment when everyone's just, slapping each other as hard as they can. Especially because, we like to drink, we like to, unsober ourselves, and sometimes at a certain point you don't even care who wins, and
It's mental toughness, always mental toughness, always in the game,
that's like I used to
no
love
matter
the
what.
pre-releases that happened at midnight, midnight pre-release,
Ha!
just because no one's used to staying up till 5 6 in the
Everyone's
morning.
yeah hella tired trying to figure out cards they've never seen before.
Yeah, and that's when I worked night shifts a lot when I was doing that. So I was already in the routine, and I'd show up bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and ready to play, and you see people trying to just slurp down coffee and energy drinks, jittering in the corner cuz they're, caffed up. It's great. That's it. Fortitude. But
Mental toughness. That's what I'm saying.
yeah. So all right, so you did a lot of pre-cons, and it was you, Joey, Jesse, and Mark, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Awesome.
yeah. So,
Awesome.
yeah, no, it was a great time. And there's some decks that I definitely want to play next time we play a little higher power, a little bit more constructed nature that have been on the way, on the wayside just because trying to keep it light for everyone. Um, but yeah, no, excited to play something higher power. I'm building a
Yeah.
CEDH deck, so next time we play Rowan and whatnot, I'll have an
Yes.
adequate response.
Yes, that's awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Because I have Rowan together now, and I have no intentions of breaking her apart.
Yeah,
So I hope we do have some powerful builds get made, just to so I have an excuse to pull it out. Um,
I did get yelled at on the CEDH subreddit though, because I was looking for some budget replacements for some things that I didn't want to spend, $400 on, and basically everyone said that you're not playing CDH if you have a budget. Was one of the
how
comments. And I was
how
like,
dare you not have limitless funds? How
yeah,
dare
well,
you not put yourself in debt?
they were
There's
all
credit
saying
cards you can open.
they were all saying just proxy, 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 which I totally understand that you can just proxy things, but I
Yeah.
don't want to. And I know
Yeah.
that's a weird thing, and I don't have like anything against people that proxy. I support proxies. Everyone should proxy shit just so that everyone can play the game. But I just personally don't want to do it, and you know what I mean? Like I just don't. And I couldn't tell you why.
Yeah.
I just want to own the things.
I'm in the same boat as you. We talk about it all the time. We're all for it. We highly approve proxies, as long as you're not proxying an entire deck and trying to make it so over top. Proxy anything,
I would
listen, if
even
you want a guy's
accept
cradle,
that.
proxy it.
I would even accept that because then it allows me to play my higher powered things
Right.
and play at
Right.
another level.
Right. And yeah, so okay, but at the same time, I don't have a single proxy card in my deck. The only time I'll proxy, actually, oh, I take that back. I have 4 proxied cards in my Borborygmos and Fibblethip deck. Only because at the time I was building it, I was very tight on my budget for my extra funds for Magic, and I didn't even know if this deck was going to be any good. It's a Borborygmos and Fibblethip Infect deck, but not even Infect. It's only Toxic.
It's awesome.
So so it's pretty much just this way to get the colors to do it, and then a lot of proliferate, and so it wasn't a powerful deck. I didn't want to spend over $100 on this build, so I do have some proxy cards that I do intend to, now that I enjoy the deck, replace. Um, but that's when I do like a good proxy, is just to test out a weird idea.
Yeah, which is fair.
Yeah.
Your
But
commander games?
yeah, so you're building CEDH. Um, is it something that's going to be ready soon? Are we going to see it soon, or are you just still kind of in the brew stage?
Well, I have to finish. I'm still sorting and organizing cards and stuff. But the reason I chose this deck in particular is because between Will and Joda, I ended up having a vast majority of the cards already. So there's only
Yeah.
actually a couple things I need to pick up um, to like actually do it, and then including like I need to buy some. Look at that half and half you got going on there.
Disgusting.
My
Ugh.
first beer pour over there.
Yeah. Quick, put your nose in it,
Yeah.
right?
But is it? Have you ever tried like the side of the nose like oil thing? Is that like a?
Yes. I've
Does that work?
been doing it my whole life. Has not worked once yet. I still do it though. Someone told me that. Someone played that prank on me, and I am still rubbing my nose oils into my beer like like an animal, you know?
I've also had the thing where like they have a can and they like tap the top of it to like to settle it down. And I've tried
Yeah.
it before and I've never made it work. So like I'm either doing it wrong or like it didn't need to be done at all.
My son actually, so Liam did that once where he shook up a can and he flicked the side of it a few times and then it opened up okay. Again, I don't know the science behind it, and it also maybe he just didn't shake it a lot, but I mean maybe there's something to it. It's just not working for me. So
Jury's out. Jury's out on that one.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I call that's like trolling before trolling was a thing, you know, like telling people like, you know,
Yeah,
if you
like
put your nose in your beer, it'll
wives'
help.
tales and things like that. Yeah, like modern colloquialisms and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so I just want to mention some more things from my commander game because
Yeah, yeah.
there's another topic we want to get to. I got to talk to you about standard. I spent all night last night and all day today looking at standard cards and trying to get my build for when this new set comes out. And there's a lot I want to talk about. But before we do, I mentioned the Volo mutate deck. I thought that was awesome. Again, if you're gonna build Volo, consider at least a few mutate cards because you're gonna get value upon value. Um, I wrote that we lost to Bronze Walrus. Third place came first place. I so I drank a lot. I drank a lot for this one. Me and Kel didn't know how to
Sounds
drink.
about right.
Yeah. So already by the end of game one, I was writing things like the Bronze Walrus is third place because he's bronze, but it came first place.
That's
So
funny.
that was my little inside joke to myself on my notes. I played a Modi. I played the One Ring. I was going hard with a Modi, and Brutal Horde Chief ended up killing me. I was doing all this stuff. Emoti does a lot, and I felt like I was doing a lot. I felt good, and Brutal Horde Chief with a bunch of little tokens killed me. So let me pull up this card.
While you're bringing it up,
Brutal,
I fucking loved Brutal Horde Chief, by the way.
yes.
When
So
I ran a
Brutal Horde
Warriors
Chief,
deck, you could say it. You say it.
sick artwork, 3 in a black, 3/3. When a creature you control attacks, defending player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Then you could pay mana. Creatures your opponents control block this turn if able, and choose, how those creatures block. So ultimately, I played the One Ring, so I now had protection from everything. When a creature I control, they control attacks, defending player loses 1 life. So what Keldon did is he swung out at me, or this was Nick. I'm not too sure. Again, I was drunk. Swung out with me, and I had the One Ring, so I couldn't take damage from the creature swinging at me. But because it's not target player loses, it's just defending player, I ended up losing equal to what was swinging at me. That's how that works, right? I mean, we all were pretty much in consensus about it, but the One Ring just gives you protection. But
Yeah, which
protection
is
doesn't.
damage, enchant, equip, block, or target.
Right. So I wasn't targeted, and it's not damage, it's loses life. So he
Yeah,
got right past the One Ring and just
yeah,
killed me with Brutal Horde Chief. Like I said,
yeah.
I was cocky about this one too. First game cocky, I lost. Second game cocky, I lost. So, but I wanted to point that out that yeah, I had the One Ring out and Brutal Horde Chief, that Khan's Tarkir card killed me.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. Um, Palantir of Orthanc. So I had played my Massacred girl deck, and I got Plantier Vorthank out on turn 3, and on turn 2 I think I got it out or something, but turn 3 it ended up dealing 10 damage. I forget what I flipped, but that thing dealt 10 damage right there turn 3. And I just want to shout out that if you're not running Plantier Vorthank and you want a fun little way to draw cards or deal damage, kind of like Protection Racket, um, get a Plantier Vorthank, man. Great card. It's a lot of fun. And as the counters, so ultimately Plantier Vorthank says at the beginning of your end step, scry 2 and put a counter on it. And then your opponent can either let you draw one card or take damage, or you mill cards, and then they take damage equal to the cards milled. And it it's a little rough because so when you yourself are scrying, you want to put something on top that you want to draw, but you also want to put something on top that if they choose to take the damage, it's going to deal damage to them. So I had set that one up where I was like, all right, this is a big CMC spell. I'd take it or it'll deal damage. And they ended up taking the damage, and it was significant. It kind of changed a lot. 10 damage is a big thing. So yeah, so that's pretty much how it went. I ended up playing Rowan that night too and lost. So I played Henzi that night and lost. I played Dex and I lost every time. It was wild. So but that's how the cookie crumbles. It was a lot of fun.
Now, do you think that was due to piloting errors or choices? Do you feel like it was a
No.
mismatch in power levels, or it was
No.
just the way the cookie crumbled? Like legitimately, like it could have gone
It,
anyway.
if anything, for in terms of power level, I would say I was playing some of the more powerful decks at the table. My cards, my decks are definitely, not optimized, but they are powerful. I know how to pilot them. I was drinking, but that's every time we play Commander, so it's not like
Yeah.
it was anything different. I just Nick, Keldon, and Carolyn are tight players, and they knew how to take advantage. You know what it is too is I guess I'm a player that kind of gives away what I'm doing. I don't have a good poker face, and they played tight. They knew when I was getting a little too greedy, and they knew when I was being nervous to take me down while I was weak. So props to them. We all talked. We are Keldon's going to be ordering the starter commander decks, the 5 like starter commander
Yeah.
decks, and we're each going to take one. We're going to play pre-con, and then every time we meet up to play again, we're just going to shove some, like I think it was like $5 or $10 worth of new cards into it, and just see how they grow and how you can edit these, and just kind of keep an extra little game of Commander happening, kind of like how we do our our challenges and our weird
Yeah.
builds. So I'm
Do you know
curious
which
to
one you're
see.
gonna take?
So the rule was don't take the one that you're going to be good at. So I believe I ended up with Gisa and
Geralf?
the Demir, yeah,
Yeah.
whichever the Demir one is. I think that's
Zombies.
what it is. But he's ordering it. We'll divvy it up. We'll see how that all goes.
Yeah, I actually have that one. That was the foundation of my zombies deck, and I considered getting the there's a better one from like Crimson Vow or Midnight Hunt. I can't recall which one. Uh, that's like loaded with like better staples, but I specifically wanted that one to keep the zombies at like a lower power level. So like I have like not a precon level, but like close to, and I also have the dragons one for my fiance when she eventually wants to play.
Yeah, it's so soon, man. It's so soon.
So soon,
We're
definitely
almost
happening
there.
soon. Yeah. I keep
Yeah.
asking her like, "Are you sure you don't want the Ur Dragon?" And she's like, "I don't know what that means." I'm like, "You want the Ur Dragon though, right?"
You want the Ur Dragon, absolutely. I mean, honestly, if you were gonna go dragons, yeah, you want the Ur Dragon for sure.
I would pick Scion. If in my
That's
perfect
the one,
world,
but now you have to use the graveyard.
yes.
And that. I think that's a layer that doesn't need to be touched yet. Realizing that the graveyard is actually your hand is something you need to do about a year into the game.
Oh no, 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 that wouldn't be for her. That's for me. If I were to build my own dragon deck,
Okay.
I would build Scion of the Ur Dragon.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Because
Well,
the Eminence is very powerful, the Ur Dragon is very powerful, but I like the toolboxy nature of Scion, where you can dump whatever you need at that moment into your graveyard to have it become that thing, and then you could always, you know, use
Yeah.
the graveyard in other ways too.
I agree with you on that. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, the only reason why you'd really go for the Ur Dragon is that secret lair, gnarly art,
Yeah,
just to have that at the helm, you know. But um, all right, listen, man, we're gonna go to our first segment of fun or trash. We talked about
do
it
do
last week.
do 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 do.
That's it. Yeah, we got to start making some theme songs. All right, so I'm gonna give you a card here that I
Trash.
yeah, I know. I find fun, so it must
So
be.
immediately trash.
So here we go. Fumble. Fumble is
Fumble.
from Battle Bond. It's one in a blue, instant. Return target creature to its owner's hand. Gain control of all auras and equipment that were attached to it. Then attach them to another creature. I run this. I have this. I don't cast it. I have yet to cast it because I don't want to cast it until I absolutely hose someone. I'm still riding high on this. I love the idea of someone beefing up a creature and making it, this thing of threat, and not only returning it to their hand, but taking everything that was equipped to it. Auras, equipment. I love this idea. I think it is so fun that I think I'm overlooking the trash. So I like it. I run it. It has yet to work. What do you think, man?
Um. Well, I'm gonna say fun, and I'm gonna say fun because I mean I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's like a must
Yes.
include, but I would say that it's not trash for the fact that I have been in situations before, and I think you were actually playing this game where I wanted to cast a Cyclonic Rift. Dear?
Nope. Nope.
Nice.
I think the family's going to basketball. So
um, where I wanted to cast a Cyclonic Rift, and I wasn't in a situation or it wasn't beneficial to overload it, and I wanted to cast it for just the 2 mana bounce something, and I actually wanted to target my own thing to save it from a board wipe, I believe was the play I was trying to make. And then I realized that Cyclonic Rift, I think someone actually pointed out, it was you, I believe, that Cyclonic Rift can't target a creature that I control or a permanent or what have you. Um, so the fact that this is the same cost, 2 mana, to return any creature to its owner's hand, I think that's decent. You could consider it like a form of removal. The whole auras and equipment thing, I think that's kind of like a meta playgroup kind of call. We only have like two, soon to be three, with my Earl finished decks that like really rely on auras and equipment. But I think 2 mana bounce something isn't the worst, even though you could just run unsummon for 1 mana and get the same effect. But
right, and I think there's cards like Perilous Path or something like that, where you can bounce something in Scry or bounce and draw a card. I
yeah,
know
so
there's
it's
better
not
ways,
it's not
but the
great.
ceiling. Can you imagine? Mark ran that Rogak. Oh, there is a deer in my yard now. He's gorgeous. Ah, interesting. Rogak or Rogak, that 0 mana
Yeah.
red creature. And when he was equipping the hell out of them, is when I really first looked at this card and said, this might be something good. Um, Never got him with it, but yeah. All right. Hey, man, it's fun.
I would say it's fun.
It's fun
It has some
trash.
uses.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool. Listen, we got to talk standard.
All right.
Let's move to standard talk here. So last night, my big thing is we have all the spoilers this weekend. This Friday is standard, right? Is pre-release, right?
Yes, the
Tomorrow's
second.
pre-release. Are you
Yes.
going to pre-release?
I'm not sure yet. I've talked to Taylor.
All right. Hopefully, I meet you there. I haven't asked Dana either. So, by golly, I hope we're there. But anyway, I was looking to see how I'm going to build my new standard deck. I wanted to build something totally new. I'm looking at it. I love it. I love all these disguise cards. I'm building this mono black. I mean mono red with a little bit of black with disguise to flip over cards, and there's all these things, and I'm loving it, and I'm building it, and then I realized there's a million board wipes that destroy small creatures. I mean, just Path to Peril is destroy all creatures with CMC 3 or less. And if it's a face down card, it's got no CMC.
Yep.
So there's a million ways to just board wipe face down cards. Who cares that they have Ward 2? Who cares? Board
Yeah.
wipe. Now, as I'm thinking about this, suddenly I'm like, okay, so all these awesome face down cards are not actually as protected as we think. And the card pool is, I checked, over 3,000 cards in standard as of modern murders coming out. So we have 12 sets, including the aftermath, which is kind of a small set. We have 12 sets, over 3,000 cards, a million different board wipes, a million different cards, a million different bombs. This new set coming out isn't really allowing me to build anything that special, because at the end of the day, there's a dozen sets.
Yep.
So it brings me to this problem of, as excited as I am about this set and this new mechanic disguise and doing face down again, Shieldred's just going to kill me. Someone's just going to Path to Peril. I play a big card and the flip Shieldred comes out. I've been running into a lot of the flip Shieldreds. How do how do you feel about this in standard? Because standard is supposed to be the let's play the new set format. That's literally what it
Agreed.
is. And we're at a point now where I'm still gonna see Atraxa and Shieldred, and that flaming chick is still coming. Now I know Shieldred's in Dominaria, and that would have stayed in standard, but Path of Peril wouldn't have been in standard. And then I wouldn't have to worry about this 3 mana board wipe on all of my flip cards. So ultimately, I want to know your opinion. Is this 3-year rotating format that allows all of these sets to accumulate, now that we are almost at critical mass, is this really good for standard?
I have mixed feelings. My personal gut feeling is no. I understand the reason why the decision was made, because less rotation means that your expensive cards that you bought are relevant for longer. So I understand why that was something that WotC decided to do in order to try to like get people back on the standard wagon. Hey, if you come, your cards will, be good for longer. So I totally get that. However, I feel like it's not great for a couple of reasons. Also, not to mention that Murders isn't even like the last set. There's still going to be the spring set, and then it won't rotate until fall. So there's actually one more set that's going to be added to
Yeah.
it before it's over,
Yeah.
which is
Thunder
crazy.
Junction
Yeah,
finishing
which
it
is
off.
crazy to me. But one of my biggest reason is that I feel that having that many cards in there almost makes it feel like more akin to Pioneer, what Pioneer is trying to do in terms of like a larger card pool. Your older cards are still good type of situation. I always liked standard rotation because it was like, okay, at least if there's this one crappy, terrible deck that might not be so bad that they'll ban a key component of it, but like you only have to deal with it for so long. Like when Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, was like dominating things for the longest time. Like I was so excited to see that rotate, never have
Yeah.
to deal with that card again. Um, and then additionally, I just find that with like a standard this big, you have your main archetypes, and new sets are really only adding like a couple of cards to those already existing archetypes, as opposed to when you had quicker rotations and like, okay, well, this deck does not function without A and B piece, and then this new other thing came out, so like it's totally, the landscape changes. Like I like standard as like kind of like a more fast pace, like, uh different brews kind of make their way out because, oh, it's a new set, new rotation, old key cards aren't there anymore. It's like looking at the top metagame actually on a MTG Goldfish, Domain has been one of the top two decks for the past like 3 or 4 sets ever since basically since Atraxa came out in All Will Be One, and it's just like, will any new set dethrone that deck as like a good one? So like probably not, and not until Atraxa rotates out. And the other top one that was number one and is now number two is Esper midrange, and it's just like those same two decks have been the strongest. I mean, percentage of the metagame. I actually don't know like tournament results. It's possible that they're not number one and number two, but I just feel like there's less change. It's less exciting. You end up seeing the same cards over and over and over again. You're gonna see Shieldred forever. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. So no, I'm not the biggest fan. I think 2 years is perfect. 18 months was definitely too quick, but I feel like 2 years was like the perfect amount of rotation.
Okay. I agree with you 100%. Now, we've been pretty positive about this 3-year rotation because of the theory of you get to play the cards you like, those old formats, like for me it's New Capenna. I love that New Capenna is still in standard. Um, but at the same time, I think now that we're at this critical mass, we're reaching this last year, I'm absolutely exhausted of some of the cards. I actually stopped running a lot of the New Capenna cards that I really enjoy just because I've cast them one too many times. And I'm very much ready to move on in standard, and yet we still have quite a bit of time before anything shakes up. So I like that there's positives to what they did. And I know that when they did this move, they didn't exactly build these last few sets with that in mind. But at the same time, if they were, you would just have to do power creep in order to keep each set relevant. So
Yeah,
I like what they did because I understand it. If Pioneer is that popular, let's largen the pool. But I think for something like Standard, you can't have that big of a pool. Well, so the other thing that I got to say too is I did Google to see what the top cards played in Standard are, and a lot of them are actually not staples. There are a lot of weird cards, like the Carnosaur is one of them, and the Schism card is one of them. So it's like it's not super powerful cards, but sure enough, there's Atraxa and Shieldred, and so I'm torn, and I agree with you. I honestly, now I would rather go back to a 2-year rotation. I want my more streamlined, tighter pools where I can try the new cards, and there's not these old ass cards that are still getting thrown around. But at the same time, I do understand what happened. Me personally, I think what we need to do is up our bannings.
I was gonna say the same thing.
So let's go to ban them all, man. Listen, if we are going to do this 3-year format, that way people can play the cards that they really like and use the new Capenna cards that are fun and something that they've used as staples and everything, and keep kind of a shell. I love it. But I think we need to start talking about banning some cards that are old hat that I'm just tired of seeing, whether it be board wipe cards that, you know, is just a go-to, or the top. I mean, do we really need Atraxa? There's tons of things to reanimate. Do we need Atraxa as the top reanimation? Do we need Shieldred as the absolute 4-drop in any black deck? I mean, how many I'm running new decks right now. I'm testing out some new stuff for standard and preps for the new set. And at the end of the day, as I'm testing them, they play Atraxa, and it's like, okay, well, let me just draw a few cards to try to answer the Atraxa. And by the time I draw my few cards, I'm dead anyway.
Yeah,
So I think if they are going to handle this, they need to be able to just suck it up and ban the fuck out of some cards with no fear, because we want it. We want it.
yeah.
So thoughts?
No, I agree, and it's like I find it weird that I agree too, because generally, like more with Commander, I'm more on the side of like let's start unbanning things.
Yes.
But if you're gonna have this larger card pool, I do feel like there's got to be something that like if something is consistently played over like 2 years, by year three, it's like maybe we should consider getting rid of some of like the more just to keep things interesting because like I was saying before, it's like certain things become the best, and unless the set is like super strong, which I feel like the common consensus about murders is that it's actually like on the weaker side of things. It's like, is there anything that's really going to make like a splash in standard? Like, it doesn't seem to me. I'm also not a professional. I'm sure that there's something, but you know what I mean? Like, to me, face value, murder's kind of just going to get like washed away with, all the value and from like Kamigawa. It's like, how is Kamigawa still relevant?
I know. And I'm with you. Listen, we're experienced players. We do know how to value a magic card. And looking through this new murders set, I love all the cards. I really do like this set, but when I was just trying to build a new set, there was not a single card in here that I was like, that's gonna make a movement. Even Delney, the white card, the Streetwise Lookout,
Yeah.
I love that card. And you can build a whole deck around that card. But that deck ain't gonna touch a good old Shieldred deck,
Yeah.
you know? So I'm torn right now. I would like to see some bannings. Listen, and I'm not saying ban a card from murders or ban a card from, the last two sets. But if a card's been out for 2 years, it's okay to ban it. Let's do it. Even if we get some sort of rotation or it's banned for no, no, no. Don't do that shit. Don't just ban things for a period. Ban it or unban it. So
Yeah.
give it time to breathe, give a set the ability to sell, and then ban it. That way, as a 3-year rotation happens, we do have some sort of fresh standard play. If they're pushing for standard to be played in paper and they want people to come out every single Friday to play some standard, there's got to be something exciting each week, something to look forward to with the new set, a reason to come out after your pre-release to take some of those cards you got from your pre-release and put it into your standard deck. That way you're excited again, because burnout is real in Magic. That's why there's so
Yeah.
many formats. So I didn't even think about this until I was trying to build a standard deck, and I realized what's the point? It's a drop in the bucket compared to these decks that have just shown their resilience and don't need a card that says, collect evidence. What the I don't need it. I'm gonna win anyway. I
Yeah.
don't need to collect any evidence. I'm gonna draw a few cards, gain my life from Shieldred, and then that's it. It is what it is. And then when my opponent tries to handle it, I drew cards. So I don't know, man. I think this is the first time ever that I'm really like, yo, let's ban a whole bunch of stuff. You
Let's
know,
get out of there. Fable of the Mirror Breaker got banned. Why not ban Children while you're at it? I mean, I get
right?
it from a financial point of view. Like, you have a $60-$70 Shieldred in a set that literally has nothing else of value in it. So you want to keep selling packs of that. You might as well leave it in. I get the finances of it, but also like just from the play pattern.
The
Why is
few
the Wandering
dollars
Emperor still relevant?
Yeah, the few dollars you get from people still buying the Dominaria packs to pull a Shieldred will be compensated by the amount of people still coming out to play Friday Night Magic and buying Murders packs, because Murders is finally a viable option. So like,
Yeah.
you might lose some sales in Dominaria, but you're going to gain sales in Murders. So I I think it's time that if we are going to stay at a 3-year rotation, let's talk about some monthly bans. And what was the format that they did, where they suspended cards or something, where it wasn't actually banned, it just kind of sat on a sideline until they further analyzed it? Was that?
Oh, was that an arena they did that?
Yeah.
Was
Well,
it
I
like
mean, I'd be okay with that, where they said, listen, this is banned.
historic, right? Historic they did that? They kind of
I
like
think it
froze
was,
things and they said, "Well,
or explore.
Explorer, yeah, maybe one of the two of those."
Yeah. But I'd be down to try that. I mean, we're in standard. It's like, listen, for the next set, you can't play Shieldred. Um, and if getting rid of it is fine, it is what it is. And then if it didn't shake anything up, bring it back then. But
Yeah.
they got to try something, because there is no fucking point to buy Murders right now. There's no fucking point. Buy a few singles for your commander decks, but it ain't gonna touch standard. I promise you. I looked through all this shit. It ain't touching standard. So
Yeah, not or not more than a card or two. And in
no.
fact, actually, I watched a Tolarian Community College video recently, and he called it Commander Legends 2. And I was like, well,
Huh.
technically three, but he said Commander Legends 2. And I kind of agreed with that assessment because when we had talked about all the spoilers, every single thing I was excited about was something that I could use in multiple commander decks. And I don't play standard frequently, but I can tell you right now that there's nothing in those decks that was like, oh, this is cool, exciting. I would like to get into standard to like try to make this work in constructed, like that kind of thing.
Yes, except if we had a small standard pool. I mean, there are a lot of cards in here that are really good for standard, but just not the current standard.
No,
So
yeah.
at the end of the year, when rotation happens and we do get a big crunch down, suddenly these cards will be playable. But why do I have to wait 9 months to play this murder card? Because at that point, I'm already on Thunder Junction. I'm already on whatever's coming next, So
Bloomborough in the fall.
what do you prefer? If we were to call it, would you rather put it back to a 2 year and
Yes.
keep the bannings down, or keep it 3 year and up the bannings?
2 years, keep bannings down unless something is just running roughshod all over the format, like when like Fable was, out, like shit like that.
Yeah,
2 years, 2 years, less bans,
yeah. I think I agree because but something's gotta give because this
or
is a bit
18
much.
months and make cards cheaper. That's the I would even take that. They're never gonna make cards cheaper, but if packs were $2 instead of $4, let's get quick
Are you
turnaround.
trying to
Let's
take
go.
money out of Hasbro's mouth,
I
man?
know. I mean,
Are you
Wizards is
over
the only
here?
thing making Hasbro any money, so clearly that's not gonna
Yeah,
happen.
yeah. We our fucking little magic backs hurt from carrying
Yeah, carrying,
Hasbro,
yeah,
man.
Hasbro.
It's rough.
Fucking
My
Monopoly isn't
wallet.
doing shit.
No, I mean they got to make a magic monopoly.
I mean, they already have
That's what
Magic
it
Clue, so that's next.
is.
That's
Yes.
next.
Yeah, that is next. We're there. I mean, that's gonna be
Yeah.
it. We're gonna have a bald Monopoly guy on our secret lair
We put a
deck soon.
shock land in there to make you want to buy it.
Hey, listen, I'm down to try it. I don't understand the difference of the clue. Is it a clue game? Is it a magic game?
I think it's a
What is
it's
this?
a fusion.
Well,
I think
I
it's a
gotta try
fusion.
it.
I don't know exactly, but I'm willing to give it a go. My question would more so be like if you split it with like three other people, like you split it four ways, like four shocklands come in it, or is it just like one shockland comes in it, and then it's like who gets the one card of value in this fucking deck?
Yeah,
To
yeah,
be fair though, some of the spoilers for like the dual color cards are kind of cool. Like the designs of the cards are interesting, but
yeah.
if you're
But
spending
interesting
eighty
enough,
dollars on this
yeah,
thing, it's a
yeah,
$20 entry fee to get to if you split it, and then it's like, what are you walking away with?
yeah. Just buy singles for your commander deck at that point.
Yeah,
Yeah, damn. All right, so yeah, standard kind of fucked up. I've been loving standard. I love standard,
yeah.
but now that we're at almost at 12 sets, I think we're a little bloated. I think they got to trim it up a little bit. Is there any cards in Murder that you would say can push through? Like I mean I know the set's still new. We haven't played with any of the cards, but is there anything that you've seen that's kind of like, well, obviously that's going to be a playable.
Isn't there like a 2 mana like white destruction spell, like white removal?
I mean,
I,
there's the Get Lost. Is no Get Lost was from the other set.
2 mana white removal spell is my guess.
Okay, but are people running white right now? Because I don't know if I'm just biased, but I'm pretty sure just black and red is what's getting cast right now. No,
Unless you're Esper Control. That's like one of the biggest
that's right.
decks in the format.
And I have been running against that.
Yeah.
Although let me tell you, that ward don't stop me at all. I have no problem with those decks.
I'll pay 7. I'll fucking
Yeah,
target it.
yeah, dude. Every time, like a 4 mana to destroy that creature. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, any day.
Because looking at
Um,
the top cards right now, like number one is cut down, removal, go for the throat, removal, negate, kind of removal, duress, kind of removal, destroy evil, removal, knockout blow is removal, and disdainful stroke is kind of removal. Like 6 of the top 10 cards are just some form of removal. So if anything is gonna break out, it's just gonna be cheap removal.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right because the creatures are already maxed out. So I do have a build in standard that I am almost done with using new cards. Ultimately, it's going to be it's a mono black deck that I'm working on.
Oh, how unusual for you.
I know, I know. It's actually the base of it is Greedy Freebooter from Ixalan. It's one black mana, 1/1. When Greedy Freebooter dies, scry one and create a treasure token. This is one of the few ways. Oh, nice. My phone just died as I read that. That's perfect.
Nice.
This is one of the few ways for black to ramp. And you can take advantage of this in a lot of ways. So tomorrow, I mean, next week, I'm gonna make a nice little deck tech of what I want to do with this and how it's gonna go, and just kind of see how it all goes. But ultimately, I want to use this freebooter, and there's a card for 2 mana. When this creature dies, something happens, and you create a treasure token. So there's the potential to your opponent swings out at you. You block with your 1/1. You use your 2 mana to cast this spell to destroy the creature that swung at you. Your freebooter dies. You get 2 treasure tokens and you scry. And now turn 4,
You
you
can
can
play your
cast
throne.
that 6. Dude, I almost made a solo deck tech about that and just posted it midweek just because I really want to show off my throne deck. So you guys might get a Throne of the Grim Captain
Deck
you know,
tech.
deck tech just in the middle of the week, just in case you want to run it. So look forward to that this week. But there's that 6 mana vampire that's like a 6/5. Again, I don't have my phone
The Blood
anymore, so
Ripper?
we're just winging it. The Blood Ripper. If you can cast that on turn 4, and then turn 5 cast an Archfiend of the
The
Dross,
draws.
and turn 6 cast um whatever, the Butcher of Azkalots or whatever it is that doubles mana. There's that 3 mana 6/2 that if you when it enters the battlefield, it creates 2 dogs, but it has menace. But if you flip it over, you don't get the dogs. So you'll get this all next week. Ultimately, what I'm saying is I'm working on a mono black deck that's going to be super aggressive, that hits turn 6 on turn 4 and just tramples. So I'm going to try to beat this stalemate of standard and bring some heat in with these new cards. But as I've been forcing this again, like I said, as I look at this, it's like, yeah, but at the same time, shouldn't I just be playing Shield Druid as my turn 4 drop? You know?
I mean,
So
maybe. Maybe.
yeah. Well, listen, I'm gonna try to get to the. Let me take that back. I'm gonna be at the pre-release tomorrow. I
Oh.
want to see how this set goes. Dana's, Dana's an angel. This woman is a fucking angel. I'm gonna be at that pre-release. But hopefully you make it there. I'm gonna see if I could drag Troy out and get his dick wet on some fucking magic again.
Yeah.
Um, and we'll see how many people we could get out of this. I want to give this format, this set, it's due. I know we've been shitting on it this whole time, saying that it's not worthy for standard, but these cards are fantastic. I want to give it a go.
And it
I want
might
to see
be.
how it plays.
Maybe it is.
Absolutely. I
Maybe
don't
it
know,
is.
man.
Who the fuck do I know?
I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. So tomorrow, it'd be great if we could get there. And then if we could get some Commander going on this weekend, I don't think I have a busy weekend. So I would love to get Krark, and even if you have to proxy some of your Drana cards, I would love to see how they play. I'm dying to see how they play, honestly. Um, so we'll talk about it while we're at pre-release tomorrow. We'll talk about how
We'll
we can do
discuss.
Commander. Yeah.
Also, side note, did you see the Quark secret lair?
No.
Oh, they haven't done the winter
No.
drop yet. It's coming on the 9th, but after this, check out the Just Add Milk. They did a second series of them. So like the cereal box cards,
Oh
and
no.
Kark the Thumbless has one, and I think it's pretty cool looking.
That's awesome. That
Yeah.
that's such a nice little treat.
Yeah,
I'm so excited about this deck. I really, as I always do, I get so built up on this. I doubt it's going to be that good, but I am so excited to try it out and see how it goes. And I mean, got to get a prisoner's dilemma before we get into this.
oh,
And
100%, absolutely. Maybe you'll pull one at pre-release.
oh, please, please. If not, I'll talk to John. I'll be like,
Yeah, just
listen, if
buy
you got
one.
any back there, just
Yeah.
start, calling it out. Anyone who pulled one, let me know. Fucking here's $20. Let's take one for 20. But no, I'm excited. Let's get this going. I'm excited to see how standard goes. Now, unfortunately, the next time we meet, standard won't actually be in. I think the murders is not going to be on arena until Thursday, so it'll be the day we record that it'll actually be on. Now, I might, you know, build a deck and just start binging it that morning. That way we could talk about it a little bit, but at the same time, we're not going to have that much information on standard. So
Yeah, yet.
it'll at least be an opportunity to see if anyone else is calling for bans or, you know, I don't know. But I don't like how this is going where this murders set is so good and no one wants to actually play any of these cards. So because again, you look at like you said with the Tellerian, you look at these top 10 cards of murders, they're not talking standard at all.
No. Nope.
No one's even bringing that up. I don't know, man. Well, listen, I think we reached the bottom of the glass here.
Wait.
There it is. I definitely
The
I
bottom of the
was
can.
I was gonna pause this and go grab another beer, but I think it's best we end this here. Find a good card for fun or trash next week.
I got you. I
Nice,
got you.
nice.
Ulamog, the ceaseless. No, funner.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's not played a lot. I know it's kind of a fringe card,
It's this
but
card called Mana Crypt. It's
yeah, fast mana and Eldrazi Titans
could be good.
I mean, you and your optimization. Oh man! All right, listen. I will see you tomorrow at pre-release. You have a good one, everybody out there. We will see you for episode 15.
Have a great night.
God bless the multiverse. Take it easy.
Hit your land drops.